Global shipping is the system behind almost everything you touch. It's invisible until it breaks. When it breaks, your life changes fast, and you feel it in prices. You think you're buying a product, but you're really buying a journey. It's a long engineered process. It crosses oceans, ports, and borders. Stay with me, because once you see the machine, you'll notice it everywhere. Look around your room, pick 5 objects. A phone charger, a t-shirt, coffee, a chair, a shampoo bottle. Now ask one simple question. How did all of this get here? How did it arrive cheaply, reliably, and on time? The answer is not a ship. The answer is a system. Global shipping is not just boats on water. It's ports, cranes, and warehouses. It's trucking, rail, paperwork, insurance, and finance. It's routes and schedules. It's standards and rules. It's a moving chain with thousands of handoffs. If one link fails, the whole chain feels it. Let's start with the biggest idea. Shipping is how globalization becomes real. You can build in one country, assemble in another, and sell in a third. That only works if transport is predictable. Predictable transport is the key. Predictability turns distance into a cost, and once it's a cost, it's manageable. When distance becomes manageable, the world becomes one marketplace. Now here's the weird part. The most important invention isn't the ship. It's the box, the shipping container. It looks boring, but it changed the world more than almost any trade technology. Because it didn't just improve shipping, it standardized everything around shipping. Before containers, ports were chaos. Cargo arrived as crates, sacks, barrels, and boxes. Workers moved items one by one. It was slow, expensive, and easy to steal. Ships sat in port for days, sometimes weeks. The ocean trip was faster than the port. Loading and unloading was brutal, and the bottleneck was constant. Then containerization standardized cargo. One box, one size, one set of rules. You lift it with a crane. You stack it high. You move it by truck. You move it by rail. The cargo inside doesn't get touched. The box becomes the unit, not the product. That is the breakthrough. That is what made the system scalable. Once cargo is standardized, everything can be optimized. Ships can be built for stacking. Ports can be built for cranes, and yards can be built for flow. Trucks can be built for frames. Warehouses can be built for speed. A standard doesn't just make things easier, it makes the whole network expand. So how does shipping actually work? Let's follow one product. Imagine a pair of sneakers. The materials come from different places. The shipping journey starts long before a ship leaves port. It starts with paperwork. First, the cargo needs documents. Shipping is paperwork. Invoices, packing lists, customs forms, declarations. Without paperwork, the cargo is not real to the system. A ship can move, but the cargo can't legally flow. Then a freight forwarder steps in. Think of them as travel agents for cargo. They book space on ships. They coordinate trucking and documentation. Most buyers never see them, but without them, normal companies struggle to ship globally. They make the machine usable, and they keep the process moving. Next comes the port. A port is not a dock, it's a giant machine. It has schedules like an airport. It has security like a border. It has rules like a government, and it runs on timing. A modern container port is choreography, cranes, trucks, yard stacks, timed handoffs. Now the ship. The ship looks like the hero, but it's only one segment. Ocean shipping runs on timetables. It's a rotating loop of routes and deadlines. And those routes depend on choke points, narrow places where massive volume must pass. That's where the system becomes fragile, and that's where delays spread fast. Choke points are the pressure valves of global trade. The Suez Canal, the Panama Canal, major straits and port hubs. If a choke point slows down, everything behind it stacks up. Once it stacks up, the ripple spreads worldwide. Shipping isn't just movement. Shipping is also pricing. The cost changes with fuel. It changes with demand. It changes with congestion. It changes with capacity shortages. And when shipping costs rise, product prices rise. Shipping is built into almost everything. But here's where it gets deeper. Shipping is tied to finance. Cargo is often moving before it's fully paid for. Companies use credit. Banks finance trade, and contracts define risk and ownership. So while the container moves physically, ownership moves legally. That legal movement is part of the system. Then there's insurance. Shipping is risky by nature. Storms, delays, theft, damage, and accidents happen. Insurance makes trade possible at scale. It turns disaster into a manageable cost. Without insurance, global trade shrinks. One loss could destroy a business. Now we hit customs. Customs is where shipping meets government power. Every shipment is classified. Every shipment is valued. Every shipment is taxed, exempted, or inspected. And customs rules can change overnight. One policy shift can slow an entire supply chain. That's why shipping is political. Trade routes are leverage. Tariffs are leverage. Sanctions are leverage. Inspections are leverage. A government can pressure an industry by changing border rules. It doesn't need to touch factories. It touches flow. When flow slows, shelves go empty. Prices jump. People notice. Now here's the big reason shipping runs your life. Most systems chase efficiency, not resilience. Companies reduce inventory to save money. They rely on just-in-time delivery. That means there's less buffer, less inventory, less slack, less room to breathe. When disruption hits, the pain is immediate. A delay used to be annoying. Now it can become a shortage. A port strike, a storm, a canal blockage, a sudden spike in demand, or a factory shutdown. These events don't stay local. They travel through the network like shockwaves. And the most fascinating part is how invisible the system becomes when it works. You order something and it arrives. It feels effortless. You don't think about cranes, manifests, and routing. A perfect system feels like magic, but it isn't magic. It's logistics. So what should you take away from this? Global shipping is the hidden bloodstream of modern life. It connects factories to stores and stores to your home. It shapes inflation. It shapes availability. Once you understand shipping, you start seeing the world differently. A simple object becomes a global map. A price tag becomes a chain of costs. A delay becomes a network problem, and a shortage becomes a systems failure. And you realize the modern world isn't held together by opinions. It's held together by systems.